Welcome to the Bettendorf Public Library's Take Home Workshop. This month, we're going to be working with watercolor and stencils, but we're using a technique I like to call reverse stenciling. So instead of painting inside the stencil, we're going to paint outside of the stencil. Let's take a look at what's in our kit. In your kit, you're going to find 3 sheets of about 6x9 watercolor paper. This is a nice size. If you fold it in half, it makes a nice card. And so we gave you envelopes that will fit that card. You can also fold it part way with your design here, and it's stiff enough that it'll stand up and you can make like place cards. So there are different uses for that. So we have 3 sheets of paper, 3 envelopes. We have stencils. We have a snowflake and a turkey and a maple leaf. These are all cut in the Bettendorf Public Library's Creation Studio. So if you have other designs you'd like to try, you can come in during open work hours and use that. What we used for this was something called transfer tape. And transfer tape is generally a one-sided adhesive tape that is sort of sticky, but not too terribly sticky. And it is used if you cut, use your Cricut or your Silhouette to cut something out of vinyl, like a sign out of vinyl. You put the transfer tape on it and peel it back up, and that way you can mount your entire adhesive thing in one go instead of having to place each letter individually. Transfer tape has worked really well for this because, like I said, it's sticky, but it's not too sticky. So when I tried to do this with just regular adhesive vinyl, every time I peeled it away, it would peel away some of the paper with it as well. We also are going to have watercolors, and these are just simple watercolor kits, although a little bit nicer because they have some extra colors than the standard 8 that we've used in the past. So they have a brown and a teal, and those will work nicely. What I'm asking you to provide is some water and a rag or paper towels or something like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to activate our paints. And to do that, we're just going to put water on them. Just a little bit of water, then clean our brush. And I'm just activating any of the colors that I think I'm going to want to use, which actually in this case is almost all of them. So just a little blob, and if you let that sit, it kind of softens it up a little bit, and it lets you pick up more paint down the road. And brown, and this lovely dark purple here. Okay, we're going to let that sit for a second. And I'm going to take my card, I'm going to fold it in half because I'm going to make an actual note card out of this. I'm just going to fold it like that. And then I'm going to choose my stencils. So we have a snowflake and a turkey and a maple leaf. I'm going to start with our maple leaf. And I'm going to lay it on here, I think as if it's, no, I think right side up. Stem side down, just like that. And I'm going to smooth it down. I don't want to really press hard. I don't want it to stick, like I said, so hard that the adhesive peels the paper off, but I want it to be secure. Then I'm going to take some of my water, just clean water, and I'm just going to brush around it. Good lighting is kind of helpful for this because since it's just plain water, it's kind of hard to see. I'm just pulling out from the center with just plain clear water. And once I get all the way around, I'm going to pick my colors. And for this, I'm going to start with a nice orange because fall, right? And if you just dot it in there, if it's wet enough, your colors will spread. You can brush them on if you prefer, but I like this kind of, almost kind of a flamey look. And I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to go back in again, and I'm going to pick up some red and do the same thing. and just touch it around. I'm gonna do the same with my yellow. And if I decide it's not spreading enough, I can go back in with a little bit of the clear water and drip that back in. If I decide it's spreading too much, then I can go back in with a paper towel or rag and I can just blot it. Now that's gonna pick your color up as well. So it's kind of a balancing act. I'm gonna go back and put some more water back in there, but not quite as much. And go back in with my colors again. So if you do it before they're dry, you can kind of erase watercolors. You do want to make sure that you're getting color right up to the edge, all the way around, or you're gonna have gaps in your design. So I'm making sure that my color reaches right to the edge of my stencil all the way around. Now I'm gonna do one more color. I'm gonna go in with just a little bit of this green, just a little bit. Just here and there, just little bits. And I want to make sure those spread. So I'm just adding some clean water and I almost want just a hint of green, just a suggestion of green. Okay, now comes the hard part. We have to wait for that to dry. The paper, you'll see, has curled up a little bit when you put the water on it. When it dries, it'll flatten out again. You could use a blow dryer on this at a low setting. If you go at a high setting, it's going to blow this water like out, and that works too. If you like that look where it'll take where the water is a little bit heavier and you can blow it out that way, get a little bit more coverage that way. That one I'm going to go ahead and set aside. I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm folding it in half. And this time I'm going to use the snowflake. So I'm just peeling this up. The snowflake, especially, you want to be a little bit careful with it. Transfer tape like this can tear. So, put that one right in the middle. So again, I'm going through, I'm making sure all my little bits and pieces are stuck down pretty well. If they're not stuck down well enough, what's going to happen is that your watercolor will leak underneath your stencil, and then you won't have the nice crisp sharp edges that we're going for. So I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to take my water all the way out to the edge, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with this nice dark purple, and it just spreads right round. And again, since I got the whole thing wet, it's all curling up. So I'm going to push down in the middle of my stencil where I won't leave a fingerprint. Okay, I'm going to let these dry. If I was doing it naturally, I would probably let them set overnight. I'm not going to. I'm going to go get out my blow dryer and dry them that way because I can't wait. So we'll see in just a little bit. And now comes the very fun part. So these are not totally flat, and that is because they're not really 100% dry, because I am impatient. If you wanted to, also, once you get these all done and they're totally dry and they're not flat enough, you could take an iron to them. You can just lay them under something flat. They will flatten out again. But before we do that, I'm going to peel off our stencils. So just get a fingernail underneath there and just peel it away. And look at those crisp edges. It takes this just really blobby painting and it just gives it a whole new dimension. So what I'm thinking for this is then you write Grandma, Grandpa, Aunt Laura, Aunt Gina, and you can sit those up because that paper is stiff enough that it'll stand up by itself. And then you have place cards for your Thanksgiving dinner, or you have happy fall cards or happy winter cards, whatever design that you want. Again, stencils like this can be cut in the Creation Studio during open work hours using the Cricut or the Silhouette. You would just need to bring in some transfer tape and we can show you how we did that, whatever designs you like. I want to see what you guys do. So share it with us on social media, and we'd like to thank the Bettendorf Public Library Foundation for sponsoring this take-home workshop.